We all have that one deck we love to play, but sometimes it just can't keep up anymore. In this series, we break down what's working, what's holding the deck back, and where smart upgrades can make the biggest difference. We're focusing on consistency, power, and matchups in the current meta. No rebuilding from scratch, just clean, efficient improvements. Let's tune this deck and see how far it can really go. Welcome to Deck Tuning. What's up, guys? My name is TechnoTuner, and today we are doing another episode of Deck Teching. We're going to be taking a look at two different decks and seeing how we can make them work a little bit better, or just taking a look at the deck list on which you can best utilize these decks nonetheless for a rogue or meta strategy. While this deck, these two decks are going to be a lot of fun to really review and take a look at, I hope you do enjoy them, as these were some really cool builds that I got to see this week alone. And the last one, or the next one I'll be showing you guys, is something that my friend put together and is really fun and interesting if you like the Egyptian god cards. Anyways, today what we're taking a look into is Egyptian god Yummy and G-Golem. So we're going to first start off with the G-Golem stuff, and I'll be going through that here shortly. But I wanted to give a little bit of a rundown on what this deck is. While yes, it is a Cyberse pile, the deck does have its own kind of form of interaction and negation, where you can set up the big bodies such as G-Golem Dignified Trilithon, and it has the capability of making it to where all monsters your opponent controls must attack this card, which makes it harder for them to perform damage calculation, all that as well. It also makes it to where once per battle, if this card battles an opponent's monster before damage calculation, you send one Earth monster from your hand to the graveyard. Until the end of this turn, that opponent's monster loses 200 attack. Also negates effects. When your opponent activates a card or effect that targets a link monster you control, quick effect, you can negate that effect. And if you do, destroy that card. So it's a bigger boss monster than most others really think that it would be, being able to give it further capability. But you do have those further options within this deck to really break it apart and go into the Code Talker or Firewall line. You don't even have to stick with the actual link access with this deck. If you want, you can incorporate rank 4s, you can incorporate rank 5s with the Link Slayer package, and there was another one, the Firewall Phantom. While you can incorporate those in there as well, do note that you are going to be basically locked into Cyberse monsters at some point in time. So if you want to incorporate the Cyberse rituals or synchros or fusions, that would probably best benefit you to learn and be able to interact with this deck. But I've talked enough. Let's go ahead and hop right into the deck profile, and I'll explain a little bit more about it. So, what is the purpose of G-Golem? G-Golem has been one of those anime decks for a while, hasn't gotten any support for a hot minute. We've seen where Goki has gotten support, Dino Wrestler's gotten support, but G-Golem was the Earth attribute AI from Vrains that was only there for about like 2 or 3 episodes, had a crush on Aqua, which was, honestly, I loved his deck theme. That was really cool, how he made it to where you were using a lot of Earth Cyberse monsters to go into these big boss monsters to further set up interaction, force your opponent to attack into him or certain monsters, and utilizes Crystal Heart to another way to get even more protection on board. While the deck does lack a lot of main board staples and maybe an additional extra deck staple, it does have a lot of good utility, in which we can then utilize other cards such as Code Generator, the Firewall cards, generic Link stuff such as Link Slayer and Gotchiria Ignister, along with Threshold Borg, and Widget Kid. But we do have the main cards, which are going to be G-Golem Pebble Dog. If this card is no more special summon, you can add to your hand or special summon one G-Golem Pebble Dog from your deck. Also, you cannot special summon monsters the rest of this turn except Cyberse monsters. If this card is sent from the hand to the graveyard, you can add one G-Golem card from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect of G-Golem Pebble Dog once per turn. But you also do happen to have G-Golem Rockhammer. If this card is in your hand, you can discard one other Cyberse monster, reduce this card's level by 2 until the end of this turn. You contribute this card, special summon 3 G-Golem tokens, Cyberse Earth, level 1 attack 0, defense 0, in defense position. Also, you cannot special summon monsters the rest of this turn except Cyberse monsters. You can only use each effect of G-Golem Rockhammer once per turn. So giving you that further capability as well to set up a lot of decent link plays
by attributing off this card to get you 3 tokens. It's basically Gofu, or a worse Gofu, Blackwing, versus G Golem Rockhammer. But why are we really trying to focus around this? Well, you do have cards such as Gravity Balance, which allows you to target 2 of your Earth monsters with the same name that are banished or in your graveyard, special summon both in defense position but negate their effects. Change their attack and defense to 0. Also destroy them during the end phase. If a G Golem monster you control will be destroyed by battle or opponent's card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. You can only use each effect of Gravity Balance once per turn. But we do have the other card, which is technically a Goki card, which is Goki Game Face. When this card is activated, you can special summon level 4 or lower Earth monster, warrior, dinosaur, or cyberse from your hand in defense position. You can tribute 1 link 3 or higher Goki monster, special summon Dino Wrestler or G Golem monster from your deck or extra deck. You can only use this effect of Goki Game Face once per turn. You can only activate 1 Goki Game Face per turn. So, you can mix this with Gokis as well and still get further effects. But there are other cards that I like to utilize here, such as Code Generator, because we're going to be doing a lot of link plays. Code Generator can help us fill our graveyard and be able to link from hand, where Code Generator, if a Cyberse monster you control, would be used as link material for a Code Talker monster. This card in your hand can also be used as material. If this card is sent from the hand or field to the graveyard as material for the link summon of a Code Talker monster, you can send 1 Cyberse monster with 1200 or less attack from your deck to the graveyard, or if this card is on the field, it was used as material, you can add that card to your hand instead. You can only use each effect of Code Generator once per turn. We can then send Dotscaper. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can special summon this card. If this card is banished, you can special summon this card. You can only use 1 Dotscaper effect per turn, and only once that turn. You can only use each effect of Dotscaper once per duel. So thus giving you further extenders and playability. Up next, we have Firewall Defensor. If this card is sent to the graveyard as material for the link summon of a Cyberse monster, you can special summon 1 Firewall monster from your deck except Firewall Defensor. You cannot special summon monsters the turn you activate this effect except Cyberse monsters. If Firewall monsters you control would be destroyed by a card effect, you can banish this card from your graveyard instead. You can only use each effect of Firewall Defensor once per turn, which gives you access to Firewall Guardian and Firewall Phantom. Firewall Guardian. If this card is sent to the graveyard as material for the link summon of a Cyberse monster, you special summon this card but banish it when it leaves the field. When an attack is declared involving a link monster and a opponent's link monster, you can banish this card from your graveyard, negate that attack, and if you do, until the end of this turn, the original attack of that opponent's monster becomes 0. Also, it is unaffected by other card effects except its own. You can only use each effect of Firewall Guardian once per turn. Firewall Phantom. If this card is sent to the graveyard as material for the link summon of a Cyberse monster, you special summon this card but banish it when it leaves the field. When an attack is declared involving your link monster and opponent's link monster, you can banish this card from your graveyard, negate that attack, and if you do, until the end of this turn, the original attack of that opponent's monster becomes... Wait a minute. It messed up, sorry. If this card is sent to the graveyard as material for the link summon of a Cyberse monster, you can add 1 Signet Spell or Trap from your deck to your hand, then discard 1 card. You can banish this card from your graveyard during the end phase of this turn, shuffle 1 Cyberse monster from your graveyard into the deck. You can only use each effect of Firewall Phantom once per turn. Sorry, I went on autopilot there for a second and didn't recognize that my mouse changed it over. Either way, Firewall Phantom is our way to get a spell and trap for Signet, so it allows us to get into Signet mining. Being able to send 1 card from our hand to the graveyard and add 1 level 4 or lower Cyberse monster from our deck to the hand, which can further help us there. We have Gachiria Ignister. The first time each Cyberse monster would be you control would be destroyed by card effect. Each turn is not destroyed. You can only use each of the following effects of Gachiria Ignister once per turn. You can target 1 Cyberse monster you control, negates effects, and if you do, special summon this card from your hand. If this card is sent from the field to your graveyard, you can target 1 face-up monster you control. That target is unaffected by your opponent's card effects until the end of your opponent's turn, giving you further protection as well, which can help out greatly. We have Link Slayer. If you control no monsters, it's basically a Cyber Dragon. You can special summon this card from your hand once per turn. You can discard up to 2 cards and target that many spells and traps on the field and destroy them. We have Parallel Exceed, which is basically, if you link summon, you can special summon this card from your hand to your zone that link monster points to. If this card is no more special summon, you can special summon 1 Parallel Exceed from your deck. So basically running 2 of them. So if you see 1, it helps get the other out. Threshold board. If you control no monsters, you special summon this card by discarding 1 Cyberse monster. All monsters opponent controls lose 500 attack, which makes it harder for your opponent to beat over yours. And then Widget Kid. If this card is no more special summon, You can special summon Cyberse monster from your hand in defense position. You can only use this effect of Widget Kid once per turn. So further giving you another extension play as there. We do have some other cards such as Call by the Grave, Crossout Designator, Infinite Impermanence, all as ways to really interact with our opponents, such as also using Ash Blossom and Nibiru. Because we want to stop those Molcharmies from going off, but we also want to break our opponent's board if we have the capability. Now, as for the links, I'm playing one Code Talker inverted, one Decode Talker Heat Soul, where this card is basically just allowing us to get a draw 1. Firewall Dragon, which is a bounce, and being able to special summon one if one Cyberse monster from our hand, if a monster this card points to is destroyed battle or sent to the graveyard. We have Firewall Dragon Singularity. You can target cards in your opponent's graveyard up to the number of different card types, Ritual, Fusion, Synchro, or Xyz, in your graveyard, in which case you pair it with Firewall Dragon Dark Fluid. Negate any effects or any monster effects activate your opponent during the battle phase. Quick effect. You can send one Cyberse monster from your deck or extra deck to the graveyard, and if you do, this card gains the attribute of that monster sent to the graveyard, also gains 2,500 attack. You can only use this effect of Neo Tempest Terahertz once per turn. This card can attack monsters a number of times each battle phase, up to the number of different attributes it has. So that can make it very hard for your opponent to get any damage in. But this is where you also pair the Fusion monster as well. That can help you further play through stuff. This is where I would probably modify my extra deck a little bit more and cut down probably one of these two Code Talkers. If this card is linked summon, you can special summon Cyberse monster from your hand to a zone this card points to. Gains 500 attack for each monster this card points to. Cannot be destroyed by your battle or your opponent's card effects while this card points to a monster. But probably be Code Talker inverted because we can go into G-Golem, Stubborn Menhir. 2 Earth monsters if this card is special summoned from the graveyard. Target 1 Earth monster to graveyard that can be normal summon or set. Special summon it negates effects. Also banish it when it leaves the field or add it to your hand. You can only use this effect of G-Golem, Stubborn Menhir once per turn, which leads us into G-Golem, Invalid Dolmen. 2 Earth monsters, co-link monsters you control, are unaffected by monster effects activated on your opponent's field. All monsters your opponent controls that can attack must attack this card once per turn. You can discard one Cyberse monster, draw 1 card. If this co-link card is destroyed, you can negate the effects of all face-up cards your opponent currently controls. So that makes it even harder for your opponent to break the board. But this is where we also play the G-Golem Dignified Trilithon. 2 Earth monsters. All monsters your opponent controls must attack this card. We've already went through this. But basically, they have to attack this monster once per battle. If this card battles opponent's monster for damage calculation, you can send 1 Earth monster from your hand to the graveyard until the end of this turn. That opponent's monster loses 200 attack, also negates effects. And when your opponent activates a card effect that targets a link monster, you can negate that effect. If you do, destroy that card. So giving you further protection there. Then we have G-Golem Crystal Heart. 2 Cyberse monsters. You can target 1 Earth link monster in your graveyard, special summon this to zone this card points to. And if you do, place 1 GG counter on this card. You can only use this effect of G-Golem Crystal Heart once per turn. Earth monsters co-link with this card gain 600 attack for each GG counter on this card. It can make a second attack during each battle phase. Also, if they attack defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent, which makes it even harder for your opponent to deal with. Then we have, of course, the 1 Protect Code Talker and the 1 Transcode Talker. Transcode revives back, but locks you into Cyberse. Protect Code Talker. Your opponent cannot target link 4 or higher monsters you control with card effects. Also, they cannot be destroyed by battle. If you control a Firewall Link monster, quick effect, you can banish link monsters from your graveyard whose combined link ratings equal exactly 3. Special summon this card from your graveyard, but banish it when it leaves the field. So further giving you an additional protection once this card is on board. Being able to set that up is insanely good, and this deck can set up a lot of really good interaction that most people underestimate. Anyways, guys, that's all that I have for this one for G-Golem, and right before we jump into this next one, I do want to explain as to why this deck would be a really good rogue strategy, because links are very powerful, as we do know. But G-Golem takes it to another level, manipulating your opponent's battle phase, manipulating how your cards can really interact with your opponent, and it sets up a lot of good protection through the Protect Code Talker. You have the attack redirects with G-Golem Dignified Trilithon and Invalid Dolmen. So if you have both those up, they can't really attack because they have to be forced to attack one or each one of them. So if they're both up, they can't attack both at the same time. That does kind of lock your opponent from attacking. But you do have other ways of breaking your opponent's board through Firewall Dragon, Tempest, and Singularity, which is a really good card, even though it is very underestimated. While you are definitely utilizing a lot of these cards to go into bigger and better plays, you do have ways to drop their attack through Threshold Borg to prevent your opponent from really attacking over them. But you also have good ways of recovery through Gravity Balance, getting Signet Mining to search for a card. You have cards that revive themselves, and you have got Cheery at Ignister, which also allows you to make it to where each time a Cybers monster control will be destroyed by a card effect is not, which can help out greatly. So what's the big threats that we have here so far in the meta, which is K9, Yummy, and Dracotail? Well, you can't target them with spell or trap effects with a lot of this stuff. You can't really target them with monster effects, depending on what you're going with. But you also have a lot of options with, if you get the Link 4 out on the board, you can negate their Thalion if they target your Link 4 or other Link monster, which can really hurt them. Same way with the K9 cards. But you have other interactions as well, as with Nibiru and Ash to really interact, but it doesn't really take up so much space in the deck, and it's heavily malleable to where you can custom form this to fit any kind of playstyle you would like. So that's why I'm saying this deck would be really good. Now, when it comes to Cool Tune is one of those decks that is not going to let this deck play fairly, because Cool Tune can basically banish 7 cards out of the extra deck, which can hit any key points of the combo, which can further prevent your opponent from prevent you from playing, but allowing your opponent to pop off. Now, if you do have that interaction and key point access in which you can set up different locks with this deck, I would say go for it. As a lot of these cards are Earth attribute, you could see about running, what is it? You can run Rivalry since they're all Cybers, or you can run Goes and Match since most of them are Earth, if you want to stick with those lines. You do have further capabilities since you're not running any Synchros, to utilize that as well to best fit your playstyle. Anyways, guys, that's all I got for this one. Let's go ahead and hop right into that Egyptian God Yummy deck, and I'll show you what's going on there as well. All right, guys, as I promised, I brought the Egyptian God Yummy deck. Do note that I have it titled as Slifer Yummy because Slifer is probably the best one to utilize with this deck because it does allow you to control your opponent's board a bit, because not a lot of the normal summons nowadays are above 1,000 attack, or excuse me, above 2,000 attack. So that helps out greatly, because if a monster is less than 2,000 attack and if it's no more special summon, if its attack is reduced to 0, then you get to destroy it, which can further help you with your Yummy combo and trigger off a lot of different things that your opponent cannot do. So basically, you're going to be utilizing your Yummy combo here, but you're also going to be utilizing a lot of things such as the Sun Avalon Link 1, the Romage, the Sky Striker package, AFD, and a few other cards such as Gem Knight Fusion to get extra bodies onto the board or further continue that combo line. While we are not running any hand traps or anything, we do have full board capability of breaking the board through Soul Crossing in case we hard draw the Slifer the Sky Dragon, or Thunder Speed Summon, which can further help us as well. The main end goal here is to get Slifer on board to control our actual opponent's board from being able to summon anything. Now, do note that this deck is very volatile and is very combo intensive, so you have to pay attention to how you're doing things. For example, if you start off with a plant monster, you would go ahead and go, for example, Cyclos the Circular Sprite, normal it, add Variant, then link away into Sun Avalon Dryas, summon the Variant, take Variant and Sun Avalon Dryas, go directly into the Sky Striker Ace Camellia. Camellia effect to send the Sky Striker Ace or Mecha Hornet drones. Link away into Kagari to get Mecha Hornet drones. Take those two, go into Cupsy Yummy Way to add a Cupsy Yummy and a Marshmallow. Discard another random card in our hand. Then we go Cupsy Yummy to add Yummy Surprise, and then special summon Marshmallow as well. We have further capability there. We'll take the Cupsy Yummy, go into Snatchy to get the Mignon to revive back the Cupsy. Go with the Cupsy and the Snatchy into another one, which we can do even Yummy Way if we need to, where we can revive, or not Yummy, Cups Yummy Way, Lollipo, where we can revive back 2 and then continue our combo from there. Or we can utilize other things, such as being able to go into different plays through our plant line, such as Aroma Seraphy Jasmine, if we get 2 plant monsters on our board, such as Protoplant Orphis Scorpio and Protoplant Darlington Cobra. Or even if we do that, we have other options as well of continuing up the Synchro line if we do other plays like that and go into our Ib the World Chalice Justisar, which gets us our World Legacy Crown and our Crown by the World Chalice to allow us to go into our AFD. But do note that if World Legacy the World Crown, it can only be special summon this card from your hand in defense position to a zone your linked monster points to. When a monster on the field that was special summoned from the extra deck activates its effect, you can tribute this card, negate the activation. If you do, destroy it. If this normal summon or set card is tributed, you can add 1 World Legacy spell or trap from your deck to your hand. Don't have to worry about that. Basically, what we're mainly utilizing it is a extra deck monster or special summon monster negation from extra deck. So basically helps get another one there. Now, I know a lot of people are like, well, how do we get to the actual Cypher the God Dragon? Well, that's through Mound of the Bound Creator. Level 10 or higher monsters on the field cannot be targeted or destroyed by card effects. We don't really care about this card effect. That's all that's there. The main card that we're trying to utilize here is when this card on the field is destroyed by card effect and sent to the graveyard, you can add 1 divine monster from your deck to your hand, which would allow us to be popped with Azalea, which allows us to take 2 any light or dark bodies and go into Azalea and pop the Mound of the Bound Creator, allowing us to search the Cypher the Sky Dragon, which is really freaking good if you can manage to get that off. But the other opportunities you have here are with the Gem Knight, with the Brilliant Fusion with Gem Knight Garnet, plus another light monster such as any of the Yummies or the Jax Queen or King's Knight. Basically, you have options there as well to go into your Gem Knight Seraphonite for an additional normal summon. So you can either set up additional bodies or be able to further incorporate different plays into your play style, whichever best fits capable. Now, do note that you do have a lot of access here, being able to pop Mignon with AFD to basically search up Mound of the Bound Creator as well. So you would be able to continue your plays from that way. Now, for the Jack's Knight, Joker's Knight, Queen's Knight, King's Knight, well, yes, you would be set to Light Warriors if you summon it off of Joker's Straight, but Joker's Straight is basically before you end your combo, you're utilizing this to get 3 bodies on board to go into Cypher the Sky Dragon during your opponent's turn off of Thunder Speed Summon, which can further your plays. But you do have further access of extensions through Joker's Knight, King's Knight, Queen's Knight, and all that as well. Being able to fully combo, this deck has a lot of different pathways, and I have to give my friend Kurt kudos for even making this deck, because it is insanely funny and intricate on how you can utilize these cards to their maximum potential, but also take it to the next level of creativity to get to a actual deck that is insanely funny to utilize. While this deck is very combo intensive, it is a lot of fun to play, and I would recommend anybody out there that is looking for a fun combo deck with no hand traps whatsoever to try, this might be an option that I would recommend. Anyways, guys, that's all that I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed today's deck teching videos. If you did, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.